So today we're going to be talking about really connecting to our real self. And the reason why this is so important is because many of the times that someone is in my office and they are talking about either trouble with finances, trouble with their career, struggles in relationship, or even struggles in their health, it really comes back to, are they living their true self? Now, our true self does transform, sometimes day to day, sometimes over the course of weeks, usually over months and years. But in that, we also have to recognize that truth is this abstract. We're looking at just something a little bit more logical. Are you living your truth? As in, are you living who you feel like you are? Are you really stepping into your truth in this moment? So let's get into understanding that what is real is actually a construct of what we're thinking, feeling, doing at any moment and experiencing at any moment. Really, the real you is success. The real you is fulfillment. The real you is a sense of what is right, what is happiness, okay? Now, the farther away you are to the real you, you're going to feel the anxiety and the depression and a lot of those other uncomfortable feelings and responses surface up. If you are in a troubling relationship, for instance, you might find yourself in sways of depression, anxiety, anger, feeling like you're bipolar. It might not be that the relationship is wrong. It just might be that you're not feeling you're living your truth, okay? So for instance, if you are in any way, shape, or form feeling a lack of power, that means you don't feel yourself. You're not living your truth, okay? It's not just a fear of feeling like someone's taking your power away or even that they're really kind to you. It's not as simple as, well, if you don't feel like you're independent or have power, just get independent and have more power. It's not that simple. It's about every single day communication. It's about every single day communication with yourselves, communication with others, feelings, responses, all of that. Now, I want you to take a step back, and this will be a nice little exercise that we do. And I want you to, if you have something handy for you to take an actual writing instrument, like a pen, pencil, and actually write on a piece of paper, because I want you to be able to reflect back, cross out notes, really get more raw with your expression. I want you to look at, are you feeling like right now you are 100% in your truth? If you're not, put down a percentage. So maybe you're feeling pretty good. You're 87, 97% in your truth. Maybe it's really shaky and you're 35% in your truth. Or maybe you quite don't know and you're not sure, so you're gonna go more in the 50% range, okay? Now, I want us to go through an exercise and you're going to revisit this again after you close everything out, okay? You're gonna revisit this after you've had some time to meditate and to just think or pray. Let's look at what really happens when we are far from our truth, okay? When we're not communicating. If we are not communicating and we have been allowing ourselves to be suggested our identity, so for instance, if you look at media or talk to your friends or whatever, and they say this or that about you, then you're going to feel like you're not right. And if you feel like you're not right, you're going to change something about yourself. And what you're changing might be taking you farther from your truth. So let's go back to childhood. That's always fun. So let's go back to your childhood. Maybe you put an outfit on that you felt really good about, okay? You felt absolutely fabulous. It was colorful. Maybe it didn't match according to society fashion, but maybe you felt great in it and you walked down the steps and your parents looked at you and said, "What are you wearing? That is ridiculous. Don't wear that." Or they let you wear it, you went to school and you were teased, okay? So then you learned that you should look more like how other people were, especially the people that seem to have clout. Whether it was the authority figure of your parents or it was the peer pressure of the other children in school, you felt like you had to adapt to fit in. And this could be about anything. This could be about your hairstyle. This could be about absolutely anything. And so if you felt the need to adapt in any way or to get affirmation in any way, you were learning to adapt over and over. And some adaptation, of course, is wonderful and is very much need it for survival. But some adaptation is on the error. There's kind of a learning curve, okay? So it's good, 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 good. Now it's getting a little shaky. Now from here over, you're losing yourself. If you got to that point, that tipping point, where you're not just adapting for survival, you know, for instance, eating breakfast and eating food, nutritious food, is part of adapting. You're doing what other people have said, this is a good idea to do, and you've learned it, and you've realized it, and now it's a part of your truth, but you've adapted into that, okay? You've adapted into learning how to cook. You've adapted into hygiene, I hope. And so you keep doing all of this, and you are adapting, and that's a good thing. But then there's a point where now you're being criticized for things that really don't matter, that are more your personal preference. And now you are, instead of just being yourself and rising upward, you're sort of just now tipping over this way, and now you're feeling worse and worse and worse. Now imagine over here would be childhood, okay? Infanthood, childhood, being a toddler, where you need to adapt to survive, okay? So this is where you're learning how to feed yourself, how to recognize when you're tired and take a nap, and all of these things that are survival based for your safety and your health. And you're coming up and you're coming up. Now you get strong, and now this is where you become an individual and you're rising upward. Now, if that doesn't happen and you're not rising upward, all of a sudden you're gonna slowly go this way and you go down this way. Now here is where you were not independent here, you were very dependent. You needed a lot of help. Well, if you bring yourself all the way over here, you're going to need a lot of help again. So you're going to feel more and more without your power when you get away from your strength. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you. It's so important to just be yourself. Now, this is not an age thing. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, younger people always adapt. Younger people do this or that. If you look on Facebook, which is actually an older age range, you're going to see a lot of adults adapting to other adults and adapting not only styles and different memes and memetics, but they're also going to be adapting thoughts, like herd mentality. You see a lot of herd mentality on social networking because people are trying to adapt. When they're adapting, they are actually going away from their strength. They feel like they're in strength because they feel like they have safety in numbers, but they're not actually in strength. They're being pushed farther away from their independence. Because some of what people are talking about and really espousing are such fluid types of thoughts that sticking to something very fluid is actually going to make you sink, if you think of it that way. So let's talk about, now you're learning, and now you go to school and you start adapting and over-adapting, and now you're leaning this way. And now if you're leaning this way, here's what happens. It's kind of a yin-yang. So if you're over here and you're leaning this way, you need a partner in your life that's leaning this way. So if somebody's coming up here and they want power, they want independence, but now they're here for whatever reason, stunted emotionally, so they're here, and you've tipped over here, this is who you're attracted to. So this is going to be someone who feels out of control, wants to rise up, has the potential to rise up because they're not yet kind of focused on making everybody happy. They're all about themselves. They're still in that child range. If they're still in that child range, wanting to feel good about themselves and wanting to prove their independence and wanting to prove this or prove that, they are in a space now where they're very attracted to a vulnerability, which is going to be over here. This is going to be the low self-esteem and vulnerability area where you feel powerless, and you're going to be attracted to someone who's into control. Okay, so it doesn't matter if somebody has been living on their own, it doesn't matter what their actual situations are, it's all about their internal home, their emotional home. So you could be someone who is living a very grand life, very independent financially, but very dependent, very codependent emotionally, and you're going to be attracting, if you're over here, if you're this person who is financially has it all together, but emotionally doesn't, you're still going to attract someone that's over here, and they're going to attach right into your emotional instability, which really is what it is, because you're not really stable. It's not that you're crazy, because people use instability as a crazy kind of form of word or term, but it's more that you don't have that stability and foundation. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on What is your truth? How do you communicate? How do you allow yourself to be yourself? Catch yourself throughout your day. And I want you to do this for 1 week and then try to circle back here, okay? If you can, ring the bell, and what I'll do is, like, about every week I might put a little comment or something so you get alerted to comments. But what I want you to do is I want you to really think about, in your day-to-day, what are you saying? What are you doing? How are you reacting that actually is portraying your truth? So a lot of times people go, how can I get to my truth? I don't even know what that is. It just starts with the here and now, how you communicate to others. So if somebody walks up to you and tells you, that color lipstick was so last year, you should be getting this one. And if you really don't like that one and you love the color that you've been wearing, wear that lipstick. I know these sound so superficial and tiny, but you have to start there, because you're not going to be able to just jump into the big issues. You're not going to be able to just jump into your driving philosophies and driving ethics. You have to start with the books you read, the shows you watch, whatever it is that you do on the more superficial level, start there, okay? Because when you start to be able to stick up for yourself and turn around and say, oh, really? That is a pretty color, but I like this one. When you're able to just sort of put your foot down in a very gentle, non-aggressive way, but standing your ground, being who you are in that moment, and owning what you're going to do with your life, even if it's something as silly as lipstick, just saying, I like that lipstick. I like that whatever, bright pink lipstick, and that's the one that I'm going to wear. Things like that actually help. And this helps in your relationships, believe it or not. As you get used to doing this in little ways, getting used to standing up for yourself, a little assertiveness, and also being comfortable in that. It's okay for people to not agree with you. You don't have to think that you're wrong just because someone's disagreeing with you. And a lot of times, if you've had any kind of fracture emotionally in your life in the past, especially in childhood, you're going to feel like every time someone disagrees with you, that means you're wrong. It doesn't. It could mean that they're wrong, or it could mean that no one's wrong and it's just your opinion. So I want you to revisit these behaviors, these thoughts, everything about that. Circle back. When you circle back, I want you to go back into that percentage after a week of really putting yourself in that position of how much are you in your truth. And you are going to notice that you catch yourself several times throughout the day in stepping out of your truth, and several times throughout the day in feeling like you're not enough. And in about a week, if you practice this, in about a week, you're going to have a definite different percentage on the scale of being much more confident and much more in your reality, in your truth. And the more you are in your truth, so the more you're here, the more you attract someone who's here, okay? So the more you are in your truth and have standards and stay by those standards. And if you want to be treated a certain way, you project that that is the way you should be treated. Not that you're asking to be treated with respect, not that you're asking to be treated with love, that you just are demanding, basically, that if you're going to be around me, you're going to treat me with respect. And if you're in a romantic relationship with me, it's assumed that you're going to be trustworthy and loving. That's it. So when you start having that attitude without saying it, but by communication in how you speak every day about everything, don't stop doing what you want to do. Don't stop your opinions. Don't stop your likes and dislikes just because someone else decides it's not right for you, okay? I will talk to you very soon, and we're going to revisit this a little bit more about stepping into your truth. Okay, bye.